What's going on, guys? Jurassic here. Today we're going to be going over the ultimate voice assistant for PC. Now, this is one of the greatest accessibility tools that I've found online, and I honestly believe that it is something that everyone should have inside their computer, just to make some of the more tedious tasks inside of some games work so much better. For example, Star Citizen, you have so many different nested functions that you have to hold left alt, right alt, and then do a whole bunch of random key combinations in order to get things done. With the power of Emily, you're able just to speak it, and it'll automatically do all the key bindings for you, and it just cuts down on so much time. Now, one of the key perks to this is it actually uses very low CPU/memory usage, so it's not actually going to be running too hard on your system. You should be able to run it on relatively old computers, so you don't really have to worry about if your computer's compatible with this program. It should work for everybody as long as you're within Windows 10. And if you guys ever want to go to find community sponsored games inside of the programs here, you are able to click on free plugins. And this is where you can see all the different programs that they have available to us. For example, there's going to be some that are officially supported, like Star Citizen, World of Warships, PUBG. But there's also some community plugins. For example, we have Hell Let Loose and Red Dead Redemption 2. And soon we'll eventually have our Sea of Thieves plugin that I'm making on the website as well. And if you guys ever have issues with the software itself, if you just click on the support up here at the top right, it has several different links that you can go to, or you can join their Discord, which they will get to you super quickly and actually help you walk through all the steps in order to fully get Emily up and running for yourself. So I've been using Emily for several days now, and I have learned some new things for it, so I want to share with you guys that way we can fine-tune it before we showcase what it really can do for video games. Alright, so for one, let's head over to our settings real quick and we'll explain a few different things. So if we head over to httc/pfc, this is where you can have your push for commands control. So basically you can have it set so Emily doesn't listen to you unless we're holding the insert key. So for example, you'll notice that its input level is working correctly, but it's not actually picking anything up. So for example, if we hold insert now, the button's going to go from nothing to blue, and obviously the commands are going to be recognized because we're not actually saying a command at the current time. So that's one setting you can have, that way it's not listening to you the entire time. Emily does work better with a normal headset microphone, in which case your input volume can be higher. If you have more of a professional microphone that might be picking up a little bit more than most headsets, I would have a input value of 65. However, try to go for 70, maybe 75. Do it one at a time. You want to get your input volume set correctly before you even worry about the tuning. So after you fully set it up, you're going to have your defaults set at 93, for example. For me, yours might be a little bit different. This is where it's going to sort of be your clarity. So as you use Emily, you can increase it or decrease it. That way it'll recognize you better. However, the major thing that's going to matter the most is going to be the input level. So you just have to play around with your headset. Use it for about a day and a half or so, and you'll notice that the commands are starting to work better or worse. And I would up it one value up or one value down, and just keep on slowly doing that until you get the ideal peak. Using Voicemeeter Banana with a Blue Yeti microphone, I had 65 for my input value, working better for me instead of having a higher number. And for the tuning, I started at 93 and I lowered it down to 90, and it seemed to pick up my voice much better. As you use the application more, with more commands you're speaking, it's going to learn your accent better. That way it's going to pick up your words much more readily. And just so you guys are aware, we are also an affiliate, so if you want to get this application for a little bit cheaper than $15, you can use code ACID25 in order to get 25% off. Alright, so now that we have all that set up, we can do some really cool things with this program. So first off, I want to show you what it was mainly designed for. So we're going to do a short glimpse of Star Citizen, and then we're going to show you Sea of Thieves, since I've actually made some commands for that game. Launch Star Citizen.
Loading.
As you guys can see, it immediately pulls it up. And it's also going to swap you over into the Star Citizen tab up here at the top. Now, Emily is a very great accessibility tool that allows you to skip a whole bunch of random keybinds that you're going to have to do in order to do things inside of more complicated games like Star Citizen. And let's say for whatever reason, open inventory is not actually working for you. It just won't pick up your voice to say it. So if you right click, you can click on edit. And this is where you can completely change it. So you can call it Open Eye. Then you click on save. And now instead of open inventory, you just say open eye, and it's going to work the exact same way as they already had it pre-programmed, which is another reason why you wanted to make a duplicate inside of your plugins here. That way you have a separate one that you can fully tweak, and the base one's not actually going to have anything negative effects on it. Operate. Now this does depend on if your server is having lag or not. Emily is not going to be able to completely fix that, so if you do run into a situation where she's just not listening to you, it could possibly be that the server is super lag behind and it's not actually Emily that's having issues. But I honestly think the coolest thing is being able to just to get rid of all the extra alt keys to be able to fully take off inside your vehicle. Command seat.
Transferring from mobiGlas to vehicle systems.
Now, technically at this point you are able to fully just spit out the commands, however you can wait for it to speak as well. Cold tower.
Contacting ATC.
Flight ready.
Starting pre-flight protocols. All systems operational.
Open star map. Now, if any of you have actually used this game, you'll know how many different button commands we just had to click in order to do all that stuff, and she was able to do it instantly for us. Now, the really cool thing about Emily is the fact that, you know, sometimes whenever you're trying to like set a route, and for some reason the game's just automatically typing in a bunch of R's instead of trying to actually do the command to set route. So the coolest thing is, for example, if you look up Seraphim, we're on Orson right now, and see how it has the route here? Set route.
Setting mission course.
It's going to automatically do it, and it actually bypasses the whole keyboard getting stuck in the whole R thing. So once we are inside of this, then we can say, take off.
Confirmed.
It's going to automatically lift us up slightly, and also raise our landing gears so we can start moving up. Cold tower.
ATC request sent.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
Now, before we swap over to the different game, I want to pull up the controls real quick and show you guys how complicated the keyboard layout is. That way you can understand how much this application is actually helping you out here. So as you guys can see, there's a lot of like regular commands, and there's also a lot of modifier commands, which will then allow you to use the second or third level here. So using Emily, you're able to bypass all that and just with the power of your own voice, be able to do things automatically, which is why it's a super nice accessibility tool. Alright, but that's all fine and dandy. This is an official supported game. Does it actually work on any game you want to? Let's pull up Sea of Thieves and see how well it works. Now, the super cool thing about Emily is the fact that you're actually able to make the program work on majority of the games out there. For example, I am developing a Sea of Thieves build for Emily. It's not an official one, however, you will be able to download it from the community page once it does fully go to public. So let me show you what I've actually managed to do. So for the sloops, it's a little bit easier. For example, you could actually swap over to like raise the anchor. But for now, I'll just show you some really cool things like open spyglass. And as you guys can see, the spyglass will automatically pop out inside your hands. Open compass. And now we actually have our compass fully loaded in. Alright, so once we swap over to our sloop mode, raise anchor. I am designing this for all three of the different ships. If anyone's curious, the sloop's going to be a little bit easier to customize since it has the anchor right behind the wheel. So everything's going to be developed more for solo play in that regard. And if you have friends inside your world, you may need to tweak your settings some. That way you can actually do everything automatically. Lower 100%. As you guys can see, the sail automatically drops down. And let's get away from the port some so I can show you some really cool things that we can actually do. Now, I also have it set up so you can swap like the cannons inside without having to go through like the entire menu to swap between the different cannonball types. But this is more just showcasing Emily. It's not necessarily fully showing off the plugin that we've designed. But let's say we are under attack and we need to drop the anchor, turn the wheel, and get everything prepared for action here. Starboard now. So for example, you say that command, it's going to automatically yank the wheel to the left. It's going to spin your character around. Drop the anchor automatically for you. And depending on where you have your sails is how much it's actually going to spin you around. But then it's going to automatically pick the anchor back up for you. That way you're immediately able to go back into action. Now from here, this is where you can decide where you actually want to go. Raise 50%. It'll pick up the sails halfway for you. Alright, so let's say we are under attack and we need to repair some stuff. Repair. It'll automatically select the plank and put it on for you without even having to hold the button down to do it. This is just the ultimate utility tool to be able to do games like this without having to have too many buttons pressed, and it's super cool. Alright, so now that we've seen the practicality of Emily and the functionality of Emily, let's see how to actually create and edit our own plugins inside of the main application itself. So whatever application you want, for example, we made a Sea of Thieves one, so to get inside of it, all we have to do is click on the designer mode. This is going to pop up a list of commands that are already preset inside the game. Once again, this is going to be one that's posted inside of the community page, so you can just download this for free. However, there is going to be cases to where you can make your own, and you don't actually have to release it to the public if you don't want to. Now, to do some relatively basic commands, for example, to raise the sails 75% of the way, this is going to be mostly done by playing around with the time inside of the game, which is the value around here. So, for example, 50 is going to be 2,800, where 75 is going to be 4,800. Now, you are going to have to add a little bit of time added to it, just in case the server has a little bit of lag or latency issues. So, just try to add like 100 to 200 value higher than what you would typically do on like the perfect example, just in case your server may be having issues on a specific day. Now, to do this, basically we're going to walk over to where we have the sails inside the game. You wait 200 because technically Emily is able to do it much faster than humans or the game's able to pick up. So that's why you want to wait a little bit before the next key press is clicked on. Then we're going to press and hold W, wait 4,800. Then we're going to release W, and press and release F, which is going to be to completely let go of the sails. Now, a more complex function is going to be, for example, this unload cannon. Technically, this is going to fully take the cannonball outside of the cannon, and then you'll just exit the cannon, you'll be good. However, we are able to edit this functionality just a little bit to tweak it inside. So you'll notice that there's going to be some crazy commands up here at the top that's actually not being able to be spoken. This is how you load or unload a cannon inside the game. So we can nest it inside of like a rapid fire shot. For example, this is going to automatically get to where the fireballs are. And it's going to press release 4, release Q, and then it's going to do our command here. And it's just going to constantly do it every single time we say rapid fireball. It's going to go inside the menu and reload another fireball into the cannon and get it ready for action. You'll notice all the rapid shots have this exact same executable. That's why we made that without having to do anything too crazy. So for example, if we wanted to do it again, all we'd have to do is right click, you click on duplicate, and then you can call it whatever you want. For example, that's why we have like a whole bunch of stars and a feature that someone's not able to speak, and then you just click on add. That's just going to put it up here at the top, and now we're able to put it inside of whatever function we want to. So for example, bail, you're going to notice this execute command, and then we just do that and click on add, and now that function is inside of our bail area. And if you don't want it, all you have to do is right click and click on delete. Now, another feature that you're able to do is you can do this exact same thing inside of a test area. That way it's not going to mess anything up for you. So you can build your commands here and get everything working if it's a more complex one like the starboard now. And then you're going to be able to plug it back in here once you have the values that you need to work inside the game. Because obviously there's a lot of different functionalities going on at the same time here. For example, this one's going to have relatively basic key inputs for the keys until it gets down to the part where you have to turn around after releasing the wheel. So once we do that, that's going to be the mouse start position and the mouse end position. This is going to take a lot of time and practice in order to get everything working. Especially in this game, since the waves are going up and down, we had to try to find the middle ground for whenever the waves are up. That way we're able to always get to the anchor to be able to spin it around and drop it in the correct time. Then after that, we went ahead and built everything custom to be able to do everything to drop your anchor and spin your character around. Now you're able to do it. And in the command description here, you'll notice that if the sails are halfway down, it's going to spin 180, or if the sails are at 100, it's going to spin 360 degrees. Alright, so that's roughly how you edit the commands inside the game, but let's say you want to make your own. So all you have to do is click on Manage. This is where you're able to create your own. For example, all you have to do is click the plus sign here, and you can name it whatever you want. So, Helldivers 2, for example. You can enter a primary command set. This is going to be your default, so Commander first-person shooter, and then click on Confirm. After a command set type. So this is going to be for a character. So this is going to be your instructions that you can make. However, you don't actually have to fill it in if you don't want to, technically, unless you're going to be putting it out to the public. So for example, now that we got that, all we have to do is click on load. And now it's going to pop up our Helldivers 2 list, which we haven't actually created anything for. So to make your first command, for example, we'll make something super easy that I already know how to make. So let's do weapons, for example, and let's do a command name of grenade. So click on add key. You're going to press and release the G key. And let's give it a little bit of delay just in case. So boom. So now the game is going to automatically press and release G whenever we say the grenade, which is now going to automatically throw the grenade for us. We are going to also be able to do like the nested functionalities to like call in our resupply, for example, as well. But that's just a quick glimpse of Emily's application, why it's useful, and why I think you should actually download it for yourself, because it's actually a super useful functionality. Even if you don't necessarily need all the accessibility features inside of the program, it's just super nice to be able to save on a lot of the fatigue on your hand, being able to click on a whole bunch of random keybinds. If this video helped you out, let me know in the comments down below, and if you guys need help setting it up, feel free to reach out to me or the development team to get your Emily fully fine-tuned for your system.